It's wonderful to be here with all of you as we near the beginning of spring and with Earth Month around the corner. I want to thank all of you for being here with us today, and I want to give a special shout out to Mary Travaglini with the Department of Environmental Protection. Mary spearheaded the idea for Go Electric and made all of what we're experiencing here today possible. Thank you, Mary. And also a big thanks to all the county staff and all the vendors who've been staffing the exhibits today. What a great event. Last summer, we released the county's Climate Action Plan, our roadmap to achieve our goals of cutting greenhouse gas emissions 80% by 2027 and 100% by 2035. The Climate Action Plan contains dozens of actions to help us fight climate change. To reduce greenhouse gas emissions, we need policy and legislative changes, and we also need to take personal action to reduce our own carbon footprints. To face today's climate emergency, we all need to act. Leading the charge for our county's climate and environmental efforts is our County Executive Marc Elrich. Marc is a committed climate change leader. He championed the Climate Action Plan to steer our county into a zero emissions future. And we're so happy he's here with us today to demonstrate why everyone's involvement is so important for our climate efforts.
So this is really exciting. I remember, when we were first talking about the options are very limited. The buses either had way too short a range or didn't exist. Cars, I'm an original, like I said, 2013 Leaf driver originally with 83 miles on a warm day and something in the 70s on a cold day and range anxiety. That was the best car you could get for a while. This world has radically changed. The county has me in an electric vehicle. I've got a Kia Niro at home. That's an electric vehicle. I no longer have 83 miles. I've hit that thing as far as 300 miles in range, 50 miles beyond the manufacturer's spec, I'll point out. But that comes to how you drive. And it's true, because I went from being interested in how fast I could drive to seeing how many little green things I could get on my dashboard to reward me for driving well. It really is a psychological change to do this. I'm very excited about where we sit. We're working on electrifying our bus fleet. We're looking at some options on electrifying some of our newer buses, which wouldn't make sense to trade out right away. It's going to take us time, but there's all this evolution occurring. There are two companies making electric axles right now that can be just retrofit on a bus and charged with a regular battery pack, big battery packs, but they're readily available. So this technology didn't exist before. We did our climate plan. There are a lot of things that didn't exist that exist today. There were things that were too expensive to imagine 3 years ago that are no longer too expensive to imagine. So I'm very excited about how our landscape is changing in Montgomery County. But I think the most important thing for people to realize, government has a limited reach in addressing climate change. I can electrify my bus fleet. I can electrify my vehicles. That is a fraction of the vehicles operating in Montgomery County. That's why we've created a buying co-op to help people bring down the price of electric vehicles and offer it to fleets as well, so we can try to make this a more accessible option for more people. But people are going to have to make the other changes. We can move to some of this electric equipment for county parks and county facilities, but we need people at home to make the same switch. We need people to decide you can live with an electric leaf blower. I bought an electric leaf blower. It actually works. And it can match the CFM of any normal leaf blower I would have bought. I don't breathe in fumes, and I'm actually doing something for the environment, so I'm really happy, and I hope other people will do that. We're going to hopefully have a program, council willing, that'll provide grants for people who are making the conversion from electric tools from gas tools like this to electric tools like this. This is big, but we need people to participate. If the government is the only one that does this stuff, we don't achieve our climate goals. And it's not acceptable not to achieve our climate goals. We need the private sector to be part of this transition. Excuse me. And a lot of what's possible actually will lower the operating costs of buildings. And some of it's going to have some additional expenses, but those expenses are going to pale to the price we're going to pay for climate change. Again, people have to take a longer view than the payments I'm going to make for the next couple of years. The question is, what are we going to wind up paying for this mess if we don't start addressing it now. And I'm not naive to think that Montgomery County changes the world, but the advantage of a place like Montgomery County, if we show that something works, other people will do it. I get the anxiety of people facing change, because we've seen this internally here. It's not like this discussion went, yeah, let's just electrify everything. It takes thinking out and thinking about what are the different possibilities and what are the different consequences. Montgomery County's well positioned to be a laboratory. We've given the same message to the federal government when we're asking for money that affects climate change from the feds, is we're not talking about this anymore. We're not researching anything anymore. We know exactly what to do. If you put money in our hands, we will do things with it that will affect climate change. And hopefully people seeing what we do has an impact on what they're willing to do. And that's how we bring other people along with us. So I'm really optimistic. I honestly believe at some point it's going to sink in that we don't have a choice to do this. I don't think we've quite reached that point with a lot of people yet, but on the other hand, there are a whole lot of people who are really worried, and young people are seriously worried. If they have to think about the world they're going to have to live in with the consequences of climate change, it is not a pretty picture. And I think the more they realize it, they'll become the activists that we need. And we're hoping they join us in our activities to try to educate the public about the importance of making these changes. They're the ones that can nag their parents about, get rid of that gas blower and buy an electric blower, Dad. You know, they're in the right position to help make those arguments and to be unpleasant until they get their point made, and that's a good thing. So I'm looking forward to this work. I'm looking forward to working with everybody who's here. I know you all are committed to this. You want to be out here. There are a lot of great exhibits here. We have real things happening in Montgomery County today. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the plan we put forward. There is a path to zero. It's not an easy path, but there's a path, and we can take it. But we're going to need the community to be the partners with us in getting there. I'll do everything I can possibly do. I'm sure that the council understands the urgency of this. We just need to make sure that in the private sector and the public sector, you join us and help make this transition.
It is an exciting time. We're right on the edge of, as Mark mentioned, burgeoning technologies. As we've been converting one of the largest public fleets, municipal fleets in the country, converting it towards electricity. It's been fascinating to see the technology evolve, battery technology, manufacturing technology. So we have more buses coming that are electric. We're investigating heavy-duty vehicles and trucks for electric, so that we can replace those in our alcohol beverage services and library vehicles and other delivery vehicles, converting those. We are solidly committed to converting this whole fleet to electric vehicles, and I think the path is before us to do that very thing. We work very closely with equipment and vehicle manufacturers to give them ideas, let them know what our requirements are, and let them know when we don't want their products because they're not quite good enough. We are pushing the industry, and it's great to see the industry respond. It's neat to see cool cars, but I need trucks, and I need bigger things than that. And so we are seeing that now coming about. So the demand is forcing advances in the manufacturing of the technology. And you should be proud living in a county that leads by example. Mark mentioned, and he's absolutely right, we can't do it, but we can prove that it can be done. And that's what we're doing, not only in our vehicles and equipment, but also in our buildings. Montgomery County is currently has over 10 megawatts of photovoltaic electric power generating plants across the county. We are currently installing another 6 megawatts of solar generating panels at the Oaks landfill. That will include four of those 6 megawatts will be for community solar use, which is the largest low and moderate income solar project in the country. Again, something to be proud of. If you are interested in knowing more about that particular effort, I invite you to go down to our folks at Neighborhood Solar or Neighborhood Sun. Just they have a booth right over here, and cool hats. So talk to them If you're interested, they can give you ideas about subscription and more details on what they're doing. We're also designing all of our new construction is going to be net zero. We don't build buildings anymore that aren't net zero. And we have a very exciting prototype project underway right now at the Holiday Park Senior Center outside of Rockville that is converting an older building into a net zero building. And the lessons we'll learn by doing that will apply to the other 400 buildings that we own and operate. So exciting times ahead as we're exploring opportunities all around. The last thing I wanted to mention that we're doing is currently in the final stages of negotiating a contract to install over 50 EV charging stations at county facilities across the county. One of the biggest challenges people mentioned, thank you. One of the biggest challenges I hear from people is, I buy an electric vehicle and I have it out and get the range anxiety the county executive talked about. And if I'm stopping at a library or at a parking garage where I know my colleague Chris Conklin with DOT are looking at parking garages with charging stations, but libraries, rec centers, wherever you go and there's a county building, there'll be a charging station for you. Public use, open for everybody. Again, something that's not being done. We're leading the way wherever we can. So it's, again, something to be very proud of. We're on target to reach our goals, the very aggressive goals, but we're excited that there's a lot of innovation taking place that helps us get there. So thank you very much. It's great to be here today. Adrian?
Just a few things to say about the transportation system in Montgomery County. Behind me is one of our first 4 all-electric buses. This is a Proterra bus. It's a light carbon fiber frame bus. It has a range of around 150 miles, and you'll see it running in the down county area and some of our routes there. We're really excited that we're going to be taking delivery on another 10 electric buses later this year. And then we have another 44 or so that we're planning to acquire over the next couple of years. And that will make use of a new charging infrastructure that David Dyes is constructing for us at our Silver Spring Depot. That's a photovoltaic grid to charge those vehicles without relying too much on the overall power distribution system here in the capital region. That's one piece of the puzzle. The other pieces of the puzzle are the choices that you make when you're traveling. The best choice you can make is to use an energy-free mode, or a mode where you're using your own energy to move you from one place for another, walking or biking, to go to places that are close to you and make those trips without any energy use. We are building more infrastructure, sidewalks, bike paths, and trying to make the existing infrastructure we have safer for you so that you can travel in those ways when you're moving around the county. Secondly, try to take advantage of this transit system. We have one of the largest transit systems on the East Coast here in Montgomery County. We're second in this region only to WMATA. There's 80 different routes, there's 400 vehicles that can move you to almost anywhere you want to go in Montgomery County, and it's free, at least through July. So give it a try, see how it works for you. Yesterday we spent the day traveling by ride-on bus. We went from Rockville to Shady Grove Station, down to Silver Spring, out to Burtonsville, back to Silver Spring, and back to Rockville. And that was all in half the day. So you can get pretty much everywhere you want to go, and I encourage you to do that. And lastly, there are lots of toys you see out here, scooters and bikes. If the trip is too long for you to pedal it, too long to walk it, try these things. They're pretty fun. Get the class, be safe with it, but these are other ways to extend the range of your low impact trips that you need to make in Montgomery County. As was said earlier, transportation is over 40% of the emissions in this county. A very, very small portion of that are the emissions from our county fleet and vehicles. The vast majority of it is our county residents and businesses driving their own cars. So think about that when you're making your next choices for how to travel, and if you're thinking of a new vehicle, think electric. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back to Adriana.
I'm in the midst of my own journey to reduce my carbon footprint. I know from personal experience that making the switch to renewable energy, to electric vehicles, to an energy efficient home, and to electric appliances takes time, research, planning, and resources. And that's why we're here today. We hope that the Go Electric event is helpful in providing you with the information, tools, and inspiration so you can take your next steps in reducing your carbon footprint. Thank you so much for coming today, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
From up county to down county, to stay in the know, like, share, and subscribe to our channel.